tini tadrigi rukagi tini inki thone lo jombanyamdo tamshi china yabu duslane tindij beguch peso ina dusna indo to lo jomba shidachi samare kansuni nge goltistan nabo chwachi lo jomba yumdo tische tulam dugire san ina shidachi pes marina tajathone mangbuchi sigujire. Today we gathered not merely for an event, but to honor the very essence of our democracy, a sacred responsibility entrusted to us by the great 14, His Holiness, Gongsucho, a responsibility rooted in our wisdom, compassion, and faith in our collective future. And I really don't consider this as politics as usual. It is a movement of activism still, resilience and never giving up attitude, and innovation and courage. It is a position of standing firm for Tibet, our land, our culture, our language, and our timeless tradition that continues to face existential threat under the illegal occupation of CCP. And it's getting worse in Tibet, especially for Tibetans living in Tibet. But let me raise up the energy here. And I want us to celebrate. I want us to celebrate Kaydor, who's been tirelessly campaigning various cities and various countries. And the finish line is not near. There's going to be many more miles that he'll have to travel. So I want to celebrate this particular topic. Just to give you a stats from the last election, the Canadian Tibetans demonstrated boldness, confidence, and a clear desire for progress, unity, modernism, and commitment. To give you an example how last voting occurred in Canada, from the rugged shores of British Columbia, the Tibetans voted for Kaydor, and Kaydor won. Let's give it a big round of applause to all the Tibetans in BC. And as you come across the mountains of Alberta, the Tibetans voted for Kaydor, and Kaydor won. Let's give all the Tibetans to the BC. And as you come towards the east, the communities of Quebec, the Tibetans voted for Kaydor, and Kaydor won. Let's give it up for all the Tibetans in Quebec. And finally, here in Ontario, the home of the largest Tibetan diaspora, we voted for Kaydor, and Kaydor won. Let's give it up for all of the Tibetans in Ontario. And we delivered a message, one that spoke of our shared vision and collective aspirations. This time, we can even aim higher, deepen our unity, and strengthen our collective voices. Let's acknowledge and celebrate everyone who chose a change maker over a status quo. Let's give a thunderous round of applause to every member of our community here in Canada who stood for progress. Let's give it up, guys. So, as I said again, we stand at a critical juncture, a moment that calls for a clear choice. Do we continue on the same path? Because we have 4 years to calibrate. We have 4 years of performance to assess. We have metrics and performance that we can evaluate. So let's evaluate them. Or should we vote for someone who has a record of results, who has the ability to zoom in and zoom out, who has the ability to distinguish between trees from the forest, who has the experience and the energy and the international exposure, and not only the commitment that Kaydor aspires for, he has delivered this in last 10 years in the previous term. So we have a candidate with a proven record, and we have a candidate who aspires for that confidence. And I think we all should vote for the change maker, and I choose Kongo Kaydor. From a Tibetan struggle point perspective, our Tibetan struggle is a very critical crossroads. Around the world, the tension of our cause has diminished. Based on Kongo Kaydor's campaign speech, the global discourses prioritizes Taiwan issue, Hong Kong issue, Uyghur issues, more than Tibet issue, and we risk slipping further from the international conscious. If we do not act with urgency and strategy, we face the danger of becoming invisible in the world stage. With the strategic investment that Kongo Kaydor has reiterated in his campaign speeches, where he would focus a lot more on international advocacy, and that is exactly what we need, so that there's an engagement in the global diaspora and we bring back the focus of Tibet in international conversations. While the status quo approach keeps international advocacy largely business as usual, Kaydor will reignite the global movement. Kaydor will impact enthusiasm and mobilize young leaders and professionals across Canada, US, Europe, and beyond through the programs like 550, GTPN, and many others. And I was so amazed to see the testimonial of this young woman in San Francisco when she discussed and talked about her journey where Kongo Kaydor had enabled her. And these are the qualities in the leadership that we must aspire for. From empowerment and delegation perspective, there's a saying, a leader's true strength is revealed not in how much they control, but in how much capability they unlock in others. They create good and better leaders around them. Kongo Kaydor has a track record of doing that in his previous terms, where he mobilized younger generations, and that is the future leaders of Tibet that he continuously fights for. In terms of sustainable revenue strategy, there's a saying that vision sets direction, yes, of course, but capital fuels the journey. Without resources, even the best ideas remain grounded. And during the time that Kaydor served, they have had various funding programs. He understands what the business case looks like and how much of an effort that needs to go in to pull all those funds. And that is the leader that we need in the current situation. In terms of fostering meaningful unity, where misinformation and division are spreading within our exiled community, and instead of healing, negative rhetoric has deepened these divides, weakening the unity of our greatest strength. And I believe it is not just some rhetorics are coming from all different areas, but also from the top leadership. And that is what we experience from the status quo team. But I believe that Kaydor's leadership will have a meaningful unity. For example, in his previous campaign, he attested and he vouched that he will reach across the aisles. He will reach out to the existing Sikyong. He's going to reach out to the former Sikyong. That is the manifestation of true leadership who drives unity. And one of the examples that I wanted to give, having myself being a sports person, Kongo Kaydor had a really interesting journey in his high school. He was a sports person himself. He played goalkeeper in soccer, and he was also a great athlete. He apparently has a discus record since 1980s that hasn't been broken yet in St. Augustine School. That's amazing because hundreds of Indian students graduate from that school. So to create a record from a sports perspective, and I hope that there are many sports people in this arena, and I'm hoping that many more are listening to this particular record. In order to excel in sport, what you need is dedication. You need discipline. You need constant practice. and you need to have a clear path to finish line. And that's exactly what Kaydor did when he set that record out, which is not broken yet. And such leaders who is disciplined to shake hands with their opponents if they win or lose, we need such characters in our leadership. In conclusion, Kaydor has served a community with dedication, integrity, a deep sense of responsibility. His leadership within Central Tibetan administration includes serving as a representative of His Holiness the Dalai Lama to the North America and as a director of the Social and Resource Development Fund. In 2021 Sikyong's election, he earned the trust of nearly half the electorate, finishing as the runners-up, 46% of the vote. His academic journey reflects the same commitment to excellence, earning a Bachelor of Arts in English Literature from St. Stephen's College, University of Delhi, followed by a Master of Arts in Law and Diplomacy from the Fletcher School of Tufts University, where he focused on international business relations and China studies. Today, he joins us not only to share his vision, but to listen, to understand the hopes and concerns and the aspirations of our community. With that pleasure, it's my pleasure to invite the changemaker himself, Kungo Kaydor, to offer his remarks. Thank you.